Hey there. Thanks for joining me today for this quick 23-minute webinar on RFID for events. So just kind of summarize what we're doing. We're going to start with a quick intro, let you know who I am. Just kind of a quick summary. What is RFID? Use cases, and then why should we be using RFID for our events? So getting kind of right into the intro here, my name is Jake Sperley. I'm one of the founders here at Fusion. I actually come from the event industry. I was an event organizer at a county fair where I was able to increase ticket sales and attendance by about 38%, increase consumer spending by 30%, and then also increase booth sales by 110%. I did all of that with less budget than was normally spent in prior years, just by using guerrilla marketing and being more creative and using different techniques that I thought would work for a younger generation and just with new marketing trends on the market. Prior to that, I was actually a food vendor. I used to travel all over the Northwest serving food at different fairs, festivals, events, expos to help pay my way through college. From there, I obviously had the event organizer experience. And then since then, I've had the great privilege and opportunity of working with many great booth-based events, expos, trade shows, fairs, to help them really increase their profitability and value using the solutions that we have here at Fusion. I'm really excited to be able to talk with you, I should say, about RFID for events. It's something that has been around for a long time, but how it's now being able to be used for our booth-based events is just absolutely incredible. And I'm just so excited to be able to share with you not only what RFID is, but how we can use it and how it can help you in your events. That's what I'm most excited about. So let's get into this. What is RFID? So RFID stands for radio frequency identification. This might sound weird, but it was actually first built for the warehouse industry. Think about warehouses. They have a ton of different products, packages, SKUs inside their warehouse. They needed a way to quickly identify how many products were in certain areas and what they still had in inventory. This was kind of, I think, before the days of software tracking and knowing exactly how much was going out, how much was going in. They basically use it to scan product to see what was on the shelf by just scanning a little RFID tag. The simplest way to describe RFID, I would say, is it's a little chip. That chip, I tell people, think of it as like a little thumb drive. That chip, we can store whatever we want on that thumb drive, per se. For events, it could be, an attendee's first name, last name, email address, phone number, their company that they're from. It could be the tickets that they've purchased, the products that they've purchased. It might be like tasting tokens or cash. It might be access control, so getting them into different areas of the event. RFID comes in many shapes and sizes and forms. You've probably seen it most notably on little wristbands, something like this, or you've probably seen it on badges, something more like this style. And the nice thing about RFID is it can be done on just about any sort of thing. You can have the wristbands, you can have badges. We even have like stickers where you can stick the RFID chips on basically whatever you want for like brand activation, stuff like that. Or a lot of people use like cards that look like little credit cards, but it just has an RFID chip on the inside. So, and how it works is it uses a scanning and reading writing method. So we basically tell the RFID chip, hey, I want this information on that chip. And when this chip gets scanned, I want it to do X thing. So when it gets scanned, you want them to, validate their ticket for entry into the event. Or you want to validate a purchase of, yes, this wristband has 5 tokens on it. It can spend 5 tokens. And when it does, now the wristband has 0 tokens per se. So, and how it's scanned is just through a little scanning device. We have handheld units, and there's also, bigger like POS looking devices as well. We basically just tap that RFID wearable, whether it's chip, badge, wristband, whatever. Basically just tap it to the device, and it reads that wristband, and it performs the action that we tell it to do, whether that is making a purchase, scanning a ticket, whatever that might look like. Getting into use cases. How do we use this RFID stuff? If it was originally built for warehouses, why the heck are we using it at events? So there's really three main use cases that we use RFID for events in. That's going to be your cashless and like token system payments. We're going to use it for access control, and we can also use it for lead capture. With those three use cases, there's obviously a lot we can do with them individually, or we can do them all at the same time. We have some events that do, cashless payments, lead capture, and access control, all from the same wristband, just using it kind of differently throughout their event. So cashless token systems, what does that kind of mean? So cashless, meaning creating a cashless environment, whether that's 100% online with Wi-Fi, or we can do it, like in a green field where there's no Wi-Fi at all. It can run 100% offline. What that is basically the attendee comes on site, or they can do it ahead of time as well, and they load, let's say, $50 onto their RFID wearable, wristband, badge, whatever. And now they have $50 to spend throughout their event. So maybe they want to go buy a corn dog, they want to go buy a t-shirt, or maybe they want to go buy a beer. They can now do that just by simply tapping their RFID wearable. The other use case for the kind of the cashless side is the token systems. So some events like tasting events, you buy, let's say, $10 gets you 5 tasting tokens. We can do that same thing. So for a tasting event, maybe I go to the on-site and I want to get, 5 tasting tokens to go sample 5 different tastes of beer or food, wine, lobster, maybe whatever it is. So we can actually load tasting tokens onto the RFID wearable. So when I go around and I want to taste, I just simply, tap my RFID wearable. The tasting token comes off my wearable and I get that product, and it's all reconciled on the back end. Then you have the access control side. So maybe you have multiple different layers to your event. Maybe you have a general admission area where you're just getting to get into the event. Then you might have more areas where you have VIP experiences, maybe special round table sessions where you had to pay extra to get access to that certain area. So you can use it to control access. It's actually pretty funny. There's a YouTuber out there. I don't remember his name. I'll have to look him up sometime. But he basically hacks his way into famous events like the Super Bowl. I think he goes into the Stanley Cup. He goes into famous UFC like boxing matches where to buy a ticket, you probably have to spend thousands of dollars. But he basically just replicates the credentials that the event is using and hacks his way in. So that's one of the great things about RFID is that RFID, because it's a chip, it can't be duplicated or replicated. So you don't have that famous YouTuber hacking your way into your event because every RFID chip is unique and it can't be duplicated or knocked off, we should say. Then you have the lead capture side of it. So let's say you're walking around an expo, trade show, and you're interested in a product at an exhibitor's booth. Well, instead of the exhibitor having to, hey, what's your name? Let me write down all your contact information. That's kind of weird. It's not a very personable experience. We can then just tap our RFID wearable at the exhibitor's booth with their scanning device. And at the end of the show, that will then give the exhibitor a list saying, hey, all these people scanned into your booth. They were interested in all these different products. And here's their contact information, how to get a hold of them after the event. It's a much easier experience for me, the attendee, to just simply, tap my wristband or whatever, instead of having to go to 50 different vendors, give them all my information. It's kind of, I would say, intrusive. As a person, I don't like handing out all my information. It's like, hey, my email is this, or my phone number is this, and this. I'd much rather just say, Bob, you have my information, get a hold of me after the event. It's a very quick transaction. And psychologically speaking, it's a lot easier to palletize, from the attendee's perspective, because they don't think of it as, oh, I'm giving you my personal information. They're just like, yeah, I'm just, Bob, there you go. Call me later, something like that. So one of the final topics here, we're going to get into why should we use RFID for events. I could probably sit here for like an hour and talk about all the different fun, cool things of why we should be using it. But it really comes down to like 3 core things. Number 1, it increases consumer spend if you're using kind of the cashless component of it. It reduces lines, whether that's cashless or the access control component, and the data and reporting. I would argue the data and the reporting is the most crucial part to the system because it unlocks a whole new level of data that exhibitors and most folks have never seen before. Going with increased spending. on average, if you're using the cashless side, we see about a 22% increase in consumer spend. We've had some events increase consumer spending by as much as 118%, I think it was. Obviously, that is not normal, so don't get your hopes up when I say 118%, because the average is usually 22%. So why is that? Because the time it takes to make a transaction is much quicker. Tapping an RFID wearable takes a second, maybe 2 seconds, maybe. Whereas doing cash or card or whatever that looks like, you're having to get change, or you have to, wait for the card to validate. And we all know in busy event settings, the Wi-Fi usually isn't that great. So it's going to take longer to process the card. So buying things is much, much quicker. Then also reduces lines. So because people are spending less time waiting in line to purchase the products, they're now able to go enjoy more and go spend more. And the third part of that is, psychologically speaking, people don't associate tapping a wristband or a badge with spending money. It's just not, psychologically, it's just not there for them. They don't think that tapping that is a monetary spend. They don't associate it with a monetary value. They just say, oh, I'm tapping my wristband, and I get this product. Disney actually implemented the same exact technology. And Disney's not our customers, disclaimer there. But they implemented the same RFID technology. But that got people access to their Disney hotel room, all the different parks, the rides, the buying products on site at all the different Disney shops. And I haven't talked to Disney directly, but I would say they probably saw an increase in spend too, because everybody was able to have a seamless experience, carefree. They could do everything just from that wristband. Talking about reducing lines, there's two kind of concepts how it reduces lines. One, when you're buying a product, and two, just getting into the event. So buying a product, as I kind of touched on before, it's quick. Transactions are very quick. You just tap and go, tap and go, tap and go. If you need more money, you just go add more money to your wristband. It's very, very simple, very, very easy. People can do that usually from their phones or by going to a little top-up kiosk on site. So that reduces the queue times at different sales shops because the transaction time is very, very quick. As far as getting into the event, we've all seen you go to an event, or a concert or whatever, the lines are just stacked up. Everybody's racing to get in. They're really trying to get in, but you're all stuck in a line. That's normally because scanning tickets takes a little bit of time. You got to focus the camera, get the barcode right, scan it, validate it, whatever. Compared to RFID, you're just, again, tapping that wristband, that badge, whatever it is. A light usually turns green if it's good, red if it's not, and you're walking right through. So we actually have kiosks where you can go in, basically tap your wearable, validates it really quick, and you're on your way. So getting into the event or getting into certain zones is much, much quicker. The third part, and the part that really excites me the most, is the data in the reporting aspect. Even when I was attending trade shows and expos as an exhibitor, it was always difficult. Exhibitors are there to make sales. That's their primary goal. And attendees are there to discover new products. So with that, it was always difficult for me to say, hey, what was your name? What was your contact information? Like, how do I get a hold of you? Without trying to sound intrusive and salesy, because it just does. And nobody really wants to hand over their personal information anymore. We all get spammy emails constantly. We just don't want to deal with it. But with this, at the end of the day, because RFID, tapping isn't normally associated with giving personal information, at the end of the day, the exhibitor gets a report, or the end of the event, whatever you choose, that says, hey, all of these people scanned into your booth. Here's how to get a hold of them. And here's the products they were interested in. So at the end of the day, I could say, oh, Joe was really interested in my big green tractor, and here's his phone number. I'm going to give him a call, and I'm going to send him over a brochure on this big green tractor. With that, on the reporting side, regardless how you use RFID, you, the event organizer, can see in real time, what's happening, what products are selling, where are people at, what booths were hot, what was the traffic flow, like where are people going, what were the best attended sessions, most attended booths, and for sponsorships, if your event has sponsors love that data. They love to know what sessions were the most popular. They love to know what booths were the most popular. Maybe they want to move their sponsored booth over there. They like to know the demographics of people and what they're doing inside the event. It just unlocks a completely new level of possibility and opportunity with what can be done at the event. And this is a big value add for your exhibitors. If you can tell your exhibitors, yeah, we have this new RFID, solution that is going to give you a whole list of people that attended your booth, that their minds are just going to go just absolutely mind blown. It's probably a couple years down the road, or maybe even the first year, you can then start increasing your booth prices because your show is going to be that much more valuable. We've even attended some shows where exhibitors tell us, the solution company, we're not going to attend these other expos that we normally attend because this one show makes up for all of the other expos because we get all of this valuable data. And we don't get that data at the other events because other events don't use RFID. There's a big difference between RFID and your traditional scanning your badge for lead capture. Psychologically, let's think about it for a second. If you were an attendee and you're just walking around having a good time, you're interested in a product, you're talking to a salesperson, an exhibitor's booth or whatever, would you feel more comfortable having the exhibitor, grab your badge and scan your little QR code on your badge? Or would it feel more comfortable to just say, yeah, just tap your badge right here real quick. And you just tap your badge or just, scan your wristband really quick. For most people, psychologically, they don't want to have some little gun pointed at them with like a little Star Wars war or something. They're just like, yeah, I'm interested, tap, they're initiating the contact because they're interested. Psychologically speaking, we see a lot more success with RFID lead capture than we do with, badge scanning with like a QR code or a barcode, that sort of style of lead capture. Because there's really two styles of lead capture. You have RFID lead capture, and then you have, QR code, barcode lead capture. And that's usually what's most common with most style trade shows and events. If you have questions about RFID for events, feel free, shoot us an email, hello@getfusionsolutions.com. Sure, because this is a recorded webinar, we don't have the live questions, but shoot us an email there. We'd be absolutely happy to get back to you as quickly as we possibly can. We're usually pretty quick. If you haven't heard of Fusion before, we are the #1 solution for booth-based events. We don't just throw that out there. It's truly because our solution encompasses all booth-based events, from your ticketing registrations to your RFID and cashless needs for lead capture, data collection, cashless payments, booth sales, so you can, do all your exhibitor sales. And also we give you a free interactive floor plan builder as well. So it is really the #1 solution, all-encompassing, all-in-one solution for booth-based events, whether that's expos, trade shows, fairs, festivals. If you have booths at your event, we are probably the one-stop shop solution for you. Again, any questions, please shoot us an email, hello@getfusionsolutions.com, or just check out our website, getfusionsolutions.com. Again, my name is Jake Sperley. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you about RFID for events, and I'm so excited that you watched this webinar because I really, truly think RFID could absolutely change the trajectory, value, and profitability of your event. Until next time, we'll see you later.